Hey, Natsu here. Today I'm going to do part 2 of what if deku was a slug slinger. Um, in the theme of doing games while recording, I've decided that for this specific what if, I'm going to use this game. As you can see, it is, well, a game about Slugterra. So, yeah. Also, I can basically just do that for pointing a specific slug, so it's a lot easier as well. Like, each of them have their own special abilities, um, all of the all of the ghouls ones. Um, the only ones you don't have to take in count are the Z3D, because it's not a real slug, the elemental of ice, electricity, psychic, vegetal, and toxic, because they're not really in. You have the other five. And for the ghouls ones, it's basically the same thing. Don't take in count the ice, electricity, psychic, toxic, and vegetal. And don't take the ghoul elemental as well, because, well, it never appeared in the show as well, so he doesn't have that. So yeah, so in the last part, I ended it right after the entrance exam, where they actually, well, Deku basically used his slugs in a pretty good way to fight. At the end, he did make Ida angry. Yeah, sorry about that. And yeah, so in the end, Deku basically, that's way weirder than normal. Normally that doesn't happen. I don't even know how he was able to throw slugs that fast. Actually, they were all ghouls, so I just had to keep them away from me. So it worked out in the end. But yeah, so Deku basically, after the entrance exam, went back home, waited, and when the letter came, it actually came about a day earlier than in the anime, asking him to actually come to the school for them to tell him different stuff. So basically, he went to the school thinking he was in trouble for something he would have done, which he's just thinking about the EMP or using his blaster, which, when he arrived, it was basically Nezu, Aizawa, and two other teachers basically telling him that they were impressed by his power, and that the way his quirk works basically makes it able to be used by different people thanks to the blasters he made. And that they would like to actually have, well, to actually ask him where he got the blasters, so that if they are needed, they can actually have some, so that they can basically use his slugs to actually protect people. Which he basically said that he made them himself, which they were surprised at first. Then they did realize that, yeah, it's true that we've never seen those, anything looking like that anywhere. So Um, they basically still asked him, "Do you would you have the capacity to?" I'm sorry about this. I have to pause. Sorry about that. So yeah, they were asking him if he could still make some and leave some slugs with them, like let's say the healing one, which he basically said that it would be a problem, which they asked him why, and he basically said that the slugs themselves do have great powers, but even if they have the blasters, these slugs would basically have a limit to how long they could stay away from him. And then basically said that his body creates a type of energy which he uses to make his mecha move, basically the robot outside, which they saw him arrive in, well, on. And they were a bit surprised by what the hell it was. So after him explaining what it was, how he made it, and, well, where he got the... they basically asked him where he got the idea for it. And he just said that he wanted a way to move around more easily. So he tried making a robot that would work off the energy that he is emitting and that his slugs are basically using to move. Which he basically thought, yeah, that's a pretty good idea actually. Since, you know, he is a living generator of that energy constantly. So if he's able to make something like that, he's basically just kind of, well, using his own quirk to go around. And they don't really see it as bad for multiple reasons. And it's the first time I die in this game. Okay, so yeah. They basically explained to him that they would still like it if they could have more blasters, so that if they're needed and that he is around, they could still actually use them. Which he decided to accept, but told them that it would take a while since he needs the money to do them. Well, he doesn't need the money, but the stuff to do them. Which he told them, well, which they told him, you know what, you can have full access to the, wait, it's called the, not the hero course, the, why can't I freaking find the word? It's, be right back. Okay, yeah, so they told him he had full access to the support class and basically to knock himself out to make some. Which, since he had full access to it, oh, firstly he went there and he basically tried to upgrade something. There is the double shot. What he wants to try is to do a triple one. He doesn't even know if it would even be possible. Which Power Loader basically being there already, since he has to prepare, basically told him, well, asked him what he wanted to do. Deku basically explains how he can shoot two slugs at once, and they can fuse to basically make something more powerful in that moment. And he wants to try a triple shot, which the guy told him that it will depend on how his quirk works, which Deku basically passed him the first newly made shooter or launcher, and Deku basically took out the Enigma slug and basically asked the guy, well, Power Loader, to shoot him with it. Power Loader basically looked at Deku and asked him, "Are you serious?" With Deku telling him, "Yeah, I'm ready to take it." So Power Loader basically prepares the shot, shoots at Deku, and Deku basically starts trying to find three slugs that would go all well together. And I would say he is able to find only one combination, and that combination would actually be, well, any slugs practically, with the elemental, well, energy elemental, basically. As long as it's only two others and that one, he's kind of able to do it. So he decides to basically try it, basically ask Power Loader to shoot him again. Power Loader does it and ask him what that did. And Deku basically tells him that with this one, he can see the energy emanating from each of the slugs, basically allowing him to see which slugs would be great in a combination. So they basically go out on, well, at some place, I would say one of the cities or something like that. The Nezu, Aizawa, Power Loader, and some other teachers are basically there with him. And they basically ask him what he wants to do here. Well, except Nezu, because he told Nezu what he wanted to do. Which Nezu basically allowed him to come into one of the cities to basically try the shot. And basically, what happened was that he placed the shot, and when he shot it with the cannon, the power that was created basically didn't just blow the robots that were in front of him. It actually took out a piece of a building that was behind him, well, behind those as well. And it basically just kept going until Deku basically recalled his slugs, with everyone basically just asking how much power it had, which Deku said he doesn't know. It's the first time he tries a triple shot. He's not even sure he can do it with his own body because of how bad it is. Then he basically shows the low launcher, which it looks fine, but he basically points out that thing that charges the energy for the shot, and the way he made it isn't like the same thing where it's basically multiple, well, a circle with multiple parts in it that they need to charge. He basically made a counter to that, and it basically counts around an hour or so because of the amount of energy, compared to a double shot that basically shoots it and takes about, what, 2 minutes to recharge? So really not that long compared to what that one is. So he basically gave them some launchers, kept one of the upgraded ones, which can house a three-part launcher. well, triple shots, and they basically wanted to test it out before anything, which Deku basically decided that he would try to do something that he saw someone else do. Metal slugs. Basically making metal slugs that would not actually, well, require his energy to be constantly there for them to survive, so that he can basically leave them to the teachers at school, so that they can use them to protect everything. But he decided to not do that now. Nezu still told him that whenever he needs to, he has full access to everything in the support class. So he's going to get to know Hajime. I don't remember her name correctly, but yeah, basically he'll know her. They also asked him about the Mecha Beast, which he said searchers are trying to copy it, but since my energy is the energy coming off of my body is so unique, they aren't really able to copy it, which they basically ask him, well, what it would take to actually do one that would work off of it, which he says, I don't know. I basically just made it to house my energy, and they haven't been able to find another way to use it. So it basically just kept going like that. Then he asked directly Nezu why, if there was any other reasons he wanted him to come, well, directly. Which Nezu told him, yes. You see, you have made a great score. But just like we told you, if you use one of your blasters, we would have to reduce your score. Well, we decided that we would that we might actually keep it like it was. Simply because of the amount of points you had. The last slug that you launched normally, it made an EMP that actually broke even our cameras, which makes it pretty hard to actually count what you did after that. From what people told us, you blew up the robot all by yourself in a single shot. Which was the double shot, if I am correct. Right? With Midoriya saying, well, yes. So they basically asked him if there's any way he could, well, show them precisely the one he did. And basically, since they're still at the place, well, in the city, he basically gets ready and takes the shots. His launcher basically exploded since he didn't. Well, no, not really, but he basically used his hand, and without thinking, he used one for all at the same time. Just because he thought, okay, I'm going to put a little more power into it, and basically blew the whole thing up. The added power from one for all to the shot basically just gave enough speed to firstly do a double shot with it. Well, it was a double shot, but basically the double shot was boosted faster than what he thought that he was doing, because he actually put both of his slugs in Ultramorph. He did not use the two, well, Burpee and the Fire Elemental, he actually used the, wait, what were their names? If this can move out, I'm going to show you. It's real annoying. Oh, come on. Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, he uses the, where are they? He uses the Forge Run, well, the Forge Slugs, basically the one under the Phantom. And the second one he uses is the small blue one, right under the spider one. Basically making the fire saw from the first fusion Ailey does, and that actually works. He basically blew, well, the entire robot that was in front of him. Basically, he melted it in half, as well as seeing it, well, cutting it in half, which they told him that the damage was way different, and he said that he went a bit further than what he did in the. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Um, like I was saying, Deku said that he launched them faster than he wanted to. They asked him what he meant, and then he explained about firstly the double shot, then explained about the 100 miles per hour and the 200 miles per hour, the transformation that occurs. And he says that right now he shot at 200 miles per hour, both slugs at once, making the attack way more powerful. Then Jesus says that it's still different than what the students said it was, or the kids said it was, as well as how the damage looked. Which Deku just said, yeah, because I didn't use the same. One of them I decided not to use it right now, because it takes a lot out of me. But because of what I did just now, I overdid it anyway. Which they ask him what he means by overdoing it. And he basically explains about his, well, limit. Which both of them, well, every teacher basically asked him, as well as Nezu, if he trained to increase it, which Deku says yeah. It's just that depending on what he does, certain things are still pretty hard to do because of the huge amount of energy required. So just doing what he did just now took out more out of him than probably um, what would have happened if he would have used the triple shot by himself, even though he doesn't even know if it's possible to do it. So they basically just kind of tell him to go and relax, but that um, there is also one last thing just before that. He is going to be in class 1A, and that he wants each of the students to actually do a test. Well, not really he wants to, but he tells Deku that he wants to do a test instead of what Aizawa did, it would basically be the same thing, but already chosen. Well, Nezu already decided that it would be done in this one, and instead of Aizawa just deciding to do it on a whim, and tells Deku that for that he'll have to use his own body and that he doesn't want the slugs to be used. So to be prepared for that. So he asks, okay, but it's a quirk test, and I'm not able to use my quirk. Which Nezu says, oh, it's not that I don't want you to use your quirk. It's that I want to. It's that we want to know what your other quirk is. It says that you have the capacity to boost your body, but you didn't show it in the entrance exam. So to make sure of what it is, we need to know from the test. It was going to happen anyway, but that he just wanted to tell that to Deku so that at least the sorry, um, just so that at least they could know what his true capacities are. Well, the other capacities, which Deku decided to just accept because, yeah, well, he would need to show one for all at some point, even though he kind of just did. So he basically goes back. After that, the day that school starts, Deku arrives at school basically before anyone else, thanks to his Mecha Beast. Um, when he arrives, he is before. Um, well, he arrived about an hour early, simply because he wanted to go to the. I'm just going to skip this ad. Wait a sec. Sorry about that. So basically, he goes to the sport class um, to try and test if he can actually make a robotic slug. Which, in 1 hour, yeah, no, he doesn't do it. Simply because, yeah, just a single hour wasn't long enough. But because of that hour early, he's actually, well, he actually met with the girl from the support class that basically makes her babies, robots, well, her machines and whatever. He explains to her, well, what he's trying to do, as well as his quirk, and she's interested in that for multiple reasons. Firstly, making robots is something that she really loves, um, as well as he is literally using, well, his own quirk to try and create something even more, well, not powerful, but something that would be able to be used by everyone. Which isn't because he wants to make everyone be able to use them, it's more because, well, the teachers want them to be able to protect the school. And since they know how strong his quirk is, if they were able to use these slugs, it would actually make all of their lives easier. They would still need to train and stuff like that, but, well, to use them. But at least that means that they would be able to do more. So, um, For the first day, they basically do it like that. Um, so at the end, he goes to class. At the class, he meets up with everyone. The same type of well, practically the same thing happens, except for Bakugo not calling Deku Deku, since by this point, yeah, he's pretty freaking powerful. Aizawa enters, same thing kind of happens. He talks about the test. So after that, they go for the test, and um, the one thing that someone noticed is actually Ida basically asking Deku where his slugs are, since he had one um, when they did the um, entrance exam. Bakugo basically told him, hey, it's not your business. It's his quirk. What do you want to do? Annoy him for life with that? If you don't like slugs, it's your problem, but his are pretty powerful. So stop bothering him or I'm exploding you. Which does shut up Ira a bit, since, yeah, no, don't annoy Bakugo firstly, and in this one, don't annoy someone that Bakugo likes. Well, not likes in that way, but like sees as a good rival, to be more precise. Which basically Ida does shut it. The girls heard the conversation. One of them, well, Mineta talked about the hole, goes to try and check, and Deku basically just grabs him and throws him away, and basically just says, you know it's not nice to check on girls, and basically grabs his spider slug and just kind of, mm, well, literally makes it come out and tells it to fill the hole, which it basically does. The girls heard what he said, and some of them were kind of thinking that, well, firstly, that his slugs must be really powerful. Then Ochako said that, yeah, um, one of them actually healed her leg uh, at, at the entrance exam, which the girls were basically um, starting to be really interested in this. She basically explains, well, what happened and how it happened, basically making, well, everyone just that much more intrigued in Deku. Since if his quirk is basically to do that, what is he going to do for the test? That might be awesome to see how he uses the slugs for whatever they're going to do. For the test, I'm basically giving the same well, things. And firstly, to be exact, um, like I said, he's not supposed to use the slugs, so he doesn't even have a launcher on him. So the girls basically asked him if they could see the slugs while Bakugo was throwing the ball. Um, After that, well, Aizawa told them to do that after class, so they waited. Um, he did the same. The last one is expelled, and Momo still think it's a bluff. It's not a bluff, but in the end, it ends up being just that yeah, he saw that everyone was good, so he didn't do it. After that, we go to each test. Um, with one for all, since he can go pretty far with it. The ball throw, he does basically a 4 to 500 meter throw. Uh, running test, he was basically fast enough to do it in. It's 10 meters. I would say he's able to do it in about 10 seconds, simply because he doesn't have full access to the power, but he can still push himself in one go. The jump test, he can use one for all and basically jump about 20 to 30 meters. I know it's pretty high, but yeah, it's one for all. It's powerful. Um, After that, we go to the grip test. He does it easily. The side-to-side jump, he kind of okay. Um, During him doing all of that, everyone's just thinking that he doesn't have any idea on how to use these slugs all in this. But Bakugo knows better, and basically, before the ball throw, he basically goes directly to Deku and tell him, "You're holding back on all of us. You should use your slugs to actually fight and do better, but you're not doing anything. What's the deal?" Before Aizawa is able to say anything, Deku says, "Okay, I'm going to use one of my. I'm going to shoot a slug for the next one, the ball throw." Which Bakugo is thinking finally he's going to use his true power. Everyone's just thinking, what is he going to do? What type of slug will he use? Because they only know about so many that he used. Like, he only used the one that makes ricochet in the fights, well, in the entrance. After that, he used the X-Mixter, X-Miter, and then after that, he used a combination of slugs that everybody says that they saw two things being thrown out, but that they don't know what they looked like. Only that they were different from whatever else he had thrown before. So they still don't know what he's going to use. And he uses a double shot. He charges one for all and readies himself all ready to do a double shot empowered with with enough to do 2 Ultramorphs, and then adds one for all on top of that. Basically, he wants to break it at this point. He basically takes the ball, places it in front of him. Blah. He places it in front of himself, readies it, throws it in the air, and shoots. These slugs that he used, they are the well, actually, they're two. They're not even slugs. He went for the more power, so he went directly with ghouls for the first time, and I just realized that there's not every ghouls in there, but yeah, basically he used a grenade slug, well, in ghoul form, as well as um, the burpee basically, also in ghoul since it happened in one part, well, in one episode. Basically, the blast coming off of that was pretty massive, to be honest. Basically, at first, it was basically flying with a ball until it exploded, basically throwing the ball um, pretty far. Yeah, no, I know I said he would throw the ball with one for all, but nah, I decided to change that just like that since Bakugo was the first to throw the ball. He got 700 around those parts. And while saying the rest, I basically decided, well, I just remembered that Bakugo knows when Deku's doing something or trying to not do something. So he basically forced him to use his slugs in that moment. And Deku basically blew up the thing to around um, 3 kilometers away. Remember, it goes pretty far if you think 3 kilometers. Aizawa basically says that Deku was actually not supposed to use them. The director was the one to decide to do this test, and he asked him directly not to use them. Exactly for this reason. Then he looks at Deku and asks him if he could throw the ball normally, and Deku's basically on the ground, like, nope, I went too far. Which Aizawa asks, what do you mean? You just shot 2 slugs. Which Izuku said, well, he lifted his hand and said, 2 slugs at 200 miles per hour each, boosting my body at the same time. I went too far. And basically drops the arm. Bakugo knowing what, well, 2 slugs at that speed can do normally, and then heard boosting my body, he basically started to ask Deku while screaming what that was and what he means by boosting his body. Like, he knows he's been doing it the entire time, but he didn't want to ask it at first. But now he needs to. Then Deku explains that while he was training with All Might, a new quirk actually arrived, which allows him to boost the strength of his body. Problem is, it takes a lot out of him, just like his other quirk. And when using it, well, using both of them at once, it's basically a, well, stamina breaker. At that point, it literally takes everything. So, Bakugo basically just realized that Deku wasn't just holding back for nothing. He isn't able to actually go all out because of the amount of stamina it takes to do it. So after that, nobody got expelled, and Bakugo knows that Deku is a lot stronger than he seems, even more than what he thought. And the girls were all interested in Deku a lot more because they saw that amount of power, and Bakugo basically, not long after, asked which one they were. He basically told them, and he said, oh, cool. But wait, you use your ghoul slugs? Aren't those ones dangerous? Which basically brought Aizawa's took Aizawa's attention. He asked what was the problem, and then Deku basically took out, let's say, um, you know what? Basically took out Burpee, then explained, how they work, how it is. Explained that when his power awakened, he basically had all of the um, all of the slugs, and then took out the ghoul version of Burpee and said that for almost each of the slugs he has, he has one of those, which he called a ghoul instead of a slug. The only one he doesn't have, and then he takes out the energy elemental. He basically says this is the only one I don't have in ghoul form. I don't. I think it's because the energy it liberates is basically the same thing that I liberate, but in a much more concentrated amount because of its small size. And then basically says that the ghouls are more powerful, but also dangerous, and that because of that, when he used that shot, he basically hurt himself more than one if he would have used the normal ones. He said that it's no problem anyway, basically showing Doc and the Doc Boone, basically, and basically said that with those guys, he's able to heal himself from a limited amount of damage, but still. So after that, well, I'm going to end it here actually. So hope you liked it. If you have any questions, um, just put them in the comment section. All of those that I am able to answer, I'm going to answer. If you just want to talk, you can do that as well. I'm going to leave a link to my Discord in the description. Come and join us. It's a lot easier to talk there to me because we can talk in real time instead of having to wait like a good amount of time for the comment to basically, um, well, for a notification to be given to the person to who you're trying to talk. So yeah, hope you liked it. Natsu.